You're here at Texas A&M. We'll see how that all comes together on Saturday. With that, we begin the Go Hour here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Garner's Jewelers. Here in the Rollo Insurance Studio, we are joined by my good buddy, Olin Buchanan, our Heisman Trophy voter. OB, are you also day-to-day?
Well, aren't we all? Because tomorrow's never promised, right?
Next hour is never promised.
By the way, happy Earth, Wind, and Fire Day.
Is that today?
Today.
I'm glad.
Don't you remember the 21st day of September?
Is that how the lyric goes?
That's how it opened.
Yeah.
You know the song, right?
Of course I know the
It's
song.
a great song.
Just like you know a lot of Kanye songs. I know you know them. You just don't know them.
I know.
Quinn plays them at the house.
Yeah, but Quinn and I don't listen to music together. He's always walking through with the earbuds in his.
By the way, it warmed my heart to see the picture that Irma sent out on Saturday with the twins hanging out with Quinn upstairs, and they're all on their phones but eating and having a good time.
Irma's one of those that understands that all parents are concerned about what's going on with their kids, so she's going to take pictures and send them out.
I love that. So, hey, are we going to make anything out of this potential injury situation with Arkansas? Their defense, their front, worries me with our offensive line more than I'm worried about what their offensive line is going to be able to do.
I would agree with that. I will say this. If there's any way at all for those two guys to play, they'll play.
Yeah.
Because the A&M game means so much to Arkansas now. You know, I talked to people at SEC Media Days. Hey, if you can win one game,
it's
game. Texas A&M.
Is that bigger, you think, than the Texas game?
Yeah, I think so, because it's a conference game. You haven't played Texas in a long time. Don't get me wrong. You know, they for the old people, I mean, really like my age, they might have been put more emphasis on Texas. But you play A&M every year, and A&M has beaten you 9 years in a row. And some of those games, you know, quite frankly, if we're honest about it, A&M got lucky that Brett Bielema was on the sidelines making some. And then Chad Morris making some really bizarre decisions.
Let me ask you this. Take off maroon-colored glasses. And I know you don't need to for this particular one. He actually took them off, by the way. I saw him do that. And if you were to evaluate the A&M defense versus the Arkansas defense, which is the better defense?
Oh, I think you'd say A&M.
Who's got more talent?
Oh, A&M has more talent.
Who's got more depth?
I believe A&M has more depth.
Okay. Now, what I'm about to read.
But who has their starting quarterback?
Yeah, this is true. But I'm talking just at the current moment when it comes to defense. So we had a listener send in a text. He was listening. He's an Aggie in Arkansas, and he was listening to Sports Talk in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Okay. And Clint Sterner, who we're going to have on the show tomorrow, was on the air. And nobody send Clint a DM right now. Hey, Nuno's talking about you. I'm not talking about it. I like Clint. And he says, he went on and on about A&M's D had many holes and how great the Hogs D matches up with them. That if he had his choice, it would be the Arkansas defense all day long. And he's, so let me just, a couple things here.
Okay.
Newsflash, we sometimes curtail our analysis based on the audience and how colorful I don't think you do, but if you know you're talking to your alumni base and you're a former player, that is probably a very, around the country, if it's close or you see your team playing at that certain level, you're going to take your team. Just like we annihilate people who don't pick A&M first on certain things. So is it Clint's opinion? Probably. I'll ask him about it tomorrow. I'll say, do you really think Arkansas's D is better? And he'll give me his assessment. Are there holes on the Aggie defense? We haven't seen many this year, but sure, I could see where you would pinpoint. I haven't watched the Arkansas defense enough to know if they have holes or not. And the beauty is we'll find out on Saturday.
Well, so much of Arkansas's, so much of the, I don't want to use the word hype, but I'm trying to think of what else, the optimism about Arkansas centers around that win over Texas.
Yeah.
And then you come back and say, well, how good is Texas? Now, so much of the criticism or pessimism about A&M centers around the Colorado game, and that's fair.
That's what we have. We have 3 games to base it on.
So I would say that A&M has probably, not that we're talking about which which pushover is easier to push over, right?
Right.
But I would say overall, because Kent State's pretty decent, I think, in their league, probably better than Georgia Southern is in theirs, and Rice is in theirs, and New Mexico I would probably take over Rice. You know what I'm saying? It really comes down to you're looking at what A&M did against Colorado on the road with its starting quarterback getting hurt in the second play or the sixth play of the game versus what Arkansas did at home against Texas. And we don't know how good Texas is. So
we don't. Look.
But I don't know how, even if it's Colorado and Arkansas, New Mexico, I don't see how you look at a team that's given up no points in 7 quarters.
And 17 overall. And say, my defense is better, meaning Arkansas. Now, does A&M need to plug up some holes in the interior line on runs? Absolutely. And does A&M need to be a little more aware of the threat of the running quarterback? With that, and especially against Arkansas, I think that is a huge part of the road. You got to force KJ Jefferson to throw on you.
But I think Mike Elko understands that, and he's going to be drilling both of those things really hard. Does Arkansas have the most dangerous receiver in the game? Yes. And that's including if Anaya Smith is ready to go.
Right.
But does A&M have the better core of receivers? Yeah. Does A&M have the better running backs? Yes. Quite frankly, I'm thinking the offensive lines at this point might be a push.
Or TBD.
But yeah, because I don't think Texas's defense is good at all. And I think their offensive line is worse.
Okay.
So I don't think you saw a lot. I understand if you're looking at it from the outside of, nationally, whatever, I understand looking at that Texas game and judging Arkansas based on that. What I'm saying is I don't understand. I've been so unimpressed with Texas when I've watched them that I just don't think they're good in the offensive or defensive lines.
I think, especially in college, but opinions are going to be, I don't care what somebody's opinion is, right? Like, it is a good talking point for us. But when it comes to college sports, we are either harder on our team, way harder, or way more complimentary of our team because they're our team. In college sports, you see that more than I think you see in the NFL and Major League Baseball, especially in college football. So if he thinks his defense is playing lights out, that's okay, that's fine. I disagree. I think the numbers will prove to you that they're different. The level of competition A&M has played versus the level of competition Arkansas has played so far, to TBD. And by the way, if Arkansas limits A&M's offense this weekend, it doesn't necessarily mean that their defense is better than the A&M defense, because A&M is playing with their backup quarterback and potentially some backup receivers as well, and a fresh or a young offensive line. So there's a lot that goes into the equation. I just think if you're a general manager out there and you get to handpick your defenses, I tend to think A&M is going to be one of the top 3 you pick in the country.
Well, I would just ask you this, without knowing Arkansas's defense, would DeMarvin Leal start for Arkansas? Would Michael Clemens start for Arkansas? Would McKinley Jackson start for Arkansas? Now, the linebackers would not, okay? But would Damani Richardson? Would Jalen Jones? Would Miles Jones? That would be how many Arkansas guys would start for A&M versus how many A&M guys would start for Arkansas on defense.
Sure.
And ask yourself that question. Catalon starts for A&M. Grant Morgan, maybe Bumper Pool.
And I'll give them this. They're playing for Sam Pittman. The team overall, they have adopted his personality, his identity from what we've seen so far. I think he's a perfect fit for them.
Perfect.
And so they are playing at a very high level. They're being coached up. I tend to think that Mike Elko is one of the best, if not the best, defensive coordinator in the country. So samey here. Like we're seeing very much similar stuff with great talent, by the way, as well.
They'll say the same about Barry Odom.
Yep.
So, look, they're ranked 16th in the country, and based on the first 3 games of the year, they deserve it. And quite frankly, based on the first 3 games of the year, I'm not one of those that get bent out of shape that A&M dropped in the polls, because I understand that you haven't played well yet. And I understand that it doesn't really matter as long as you keep winning. What I get bent out of shape was when A&M drops in the polls based on the way they played, but a team like Oklahoma doesn't. Right. But that's a whole nother story.
Well, Oklahoma gets the benefit of the doubt
all the time.
And maybe part of the equation is they look at A&M's upcoming schedule as opposed to Oklahoma's upcoming schedule, and that plays into how they vote, agree or disagree. All right, if you want to be a part of the conversation, you can certainly do it. I forgot to say what the topic of the day is. We'll get into it here in a minute, but how do you feel about neutral site games? I got some opinions on it, and I'll break that down. OB will as well. If you want to call, you can, 979-693-1150. That is the BCSI hotline. Or you can text the show, 979-693, the AMB text line at College Station branch of Amarillo National Bank. Good Texas banking, the website, amb.com. Let's go to the News and Social Center. Tori Espravoa. Good morning to you, Tori.
Good morning, guys. How have all been?
We've been.
Good. That's good. I am super excited for this Friday, by the way. It's my ring day. I'm looking forward to it. And I also, though, wanted to mention that, though, because I have no idea what to dunk my ring in. I don't like beer, so I don't know what I should dunk my ring in.
Hold on. So, I don't drink beer or anything. But
I didn't know that, but okay.
But I didn't know it was an option to choose your beverage.
Of course.
They've changed the rules?
I don't want to
unwritten rules?
I don't want to upchuck with something I don't even like. I don't even like beer. Why do I want to ruin my whole night by drinking a 64-ounce pitcher of beer?
I didn't know that was allowed. Like, I thought, if you're dunking your ring, you're doing it in a pitcher of beer.
It's allowed for my ring day. I'm changing the rules up a little bit. I was going to do champagne, but I've been advised that it is a extremely bad idea. So if you guys have any suggestions, please let me know, because I have no idea what I'm going to dunk it in.
So I dunked mine 1998, whatever it was, I guess, whenever you get your ring and whatever. I think it was cold. I remember wearing a sweater. But that being said, I thought I did great. We did it I was in a fraternity, and I did it with my fraternity brothers, and I thought I dominated. I believe I did it in 92 seconds. I'm like, that's pretty good. Good old Brandon Davenport, who was the guy who would get drunk faster than anybody, did it in 41 seconds.
Wow.
That was my brother.
41?
That was my brother. He did it in 36 seconds. I'm like, wow.
That is
I could never drink a lot real fast, but I used to have a party trick, and I learned from a friend of mine, and I used to be able to chug the pitcher of beer about 3/4 of the way. Right? And never touch the pitcher with my hands.
How do you do what?
You pick it off with your teeth and hold it up like that.
That sounds like it would hurt.
Well, it depended on the pitcher. We always got those plastic pitchers that they had at Pizza Hut back in the day. Fill that about 3/4 of the way, grab it and that made you a big hit at parties.
Okay, so OB,
but now I don't even drink beer.
I'm thinking YouTube content right now. I think we have to do OB drinking at least water in a pitcher with no hands. Can we do this? Can we get this up on social?
Listen, this has been 20 or 30 years ago, right?
But it's like riding a bike. You can do it still, my friend.
I don't know. I would try.
Let's try it. At least for the paper cup. It would make me laugh. All right.
Oh, the paper cup is,
that's too easy.
Do it with this right here.
Oh, but if you're watching, there is OB. Okay. This is.
I'm not going to do it.
Okay. All right. Let's Tori, we got to hit a break here. Let's get some text messages in.
Okay. I have Cameron Round Rock saying neutral sites can be fun if it brings together a matchup that doesn't happen often. Past that, home is always better. I've always been an active follower of Aggie sports since 2013, and I still haven't had a chance to make it to Fayetteville.
Awesome. Hey, I should have asked you any news and headlines out there that you want to get in there.
I do. I have one. I have the NACDA Board of Directors announced that Texas A&M Director of Athletics Ross Bjork has been selected to serve as the association's third vice president. And then the last headline I have is sophomore Nick Constantino was named the Southeastern Conference Punter of the Week after an impressive performance in Texas A&M's 34-0 victory over New Mexico.
I don't think a punter can have a better day than Nick Constantino did. I know, and I'm not include Braden Mann had some amazing day. But when you punt 4 times for a 45.5 average and kill 3 of them inside the 10 and 1 inside the 20, inside the 15.
Do you remember there was a time where punters weren't supposed to be cool? They weren't cool. Nick Constantino's freaking cool. He looks like a linebacker.
I know,
got good hair.
Yeah.
Got that accent.
Yeah.
Good with the media.
He is.
Gosh.
I hate him.
Bugs me.
It does. But
God.
look at you. You look like Constantino in a way.
Except I look like his dad.
Except I had to see that. I had to grow up. I had to live with this face. and then you see that guy, and you're like, some people like the old golf coach here. What was his name?
JT Higgins.
JT Higgins. 6'4", handsome, makes six figures by walking around a golf course.
Right.
People like that just bug me because they win at life, and I had to have this face my whole life.
Constantino's
one of them.
He's cool, and
Yeah.
I haven't seen him make a play, but I bet you he would make a nice tackle. I can tell he would.
I'm waiting for him to look like he's going to do one of those Australian punch, where and then take off, because that's the next thing. He's gonna go convert the fake punt.
Oh, we could see that against Alabama. I can totally see it, just upsetting Nick Saban. All right, we got to hit a break. It is TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Need help with your high wind or hail damage claims? Call Larry Winkler and the fine folks at United. United Roofing is your local professional family-owned business with over 40 years of service in the Brazos Valley. United is your insurance claims specialist, providing the most comprehensive full system labor and material warranty in the roofing industry. Call United today at 268-ROOF.
At United Roofing and Sheet Metal, we've got you covered inside and out.
Please join Pink Alliance Thursday, September 30th for their 18th annual Surviving and Thriving Cancer Awareness Luncheon, sponsored by St. Joseph Health. Featuring Lori Allen, breast cancer survivor and reality star of Say Yes to the Dress Atlanta. Come hear Lori tell her story as we raise money to support breast cancer patients in the Brazos Valley. For tickets or more information, visit survivingandthriving.org. That's survivingandthriving.org.
The small Texas town of Llano is where it all began. The Wooten family created Cooper's old-time pit barbecues, mouth-watering recipes, and cowboy-style cooked barbecue. Decades later, you can still get the same great recipes, cooked exactly the same way by the same family, right here in College Station. Dine in, curbside pickup, or catered. Experience the taste of locally Aggie-owned, nationally recognized Cooper's old-time pit barbecue. Voted best barbecue in the Brazos Valley and proud supporter of Texas A&M athletics.
Gasly's Professional Cleaning reminds all listeners that last year, over 50% of our children were bullied or teased. This daily ritual leaves them in despair, feeling like there's no way out. Be someone that a child can go to for help, and let's stop the intimidation now. This message is from Gasly's Professional Cleaning, serving the Brazos Valley for all your residential cleaning needs. Over 17 years in business, one-time cleaning, reoccurring home cleaning, move in, move out. They take pride in their work. Call for a quote from Gasly's Professional Cleaning. Wishing our kids a safe and happy school year.
The Bellucci Hour Happy Hour is a must part of any Aggie football season. Join Billy Lucci of TexAgs and Zach Taylor, the Infomaniac, every Monday and Thursday at 6 at the Tap, or listen in right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Bellucci Hour Happy Hour every Monday, Thursday at 6 is brought to you by King Ranch Saddle Shop. Also brought to you in part by B&B Automotive. It's the Bellucci Hour Happy Hour.
Head coach Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies are ready to rise to the top of the SEC.
Zach steps up, going deep, wide open, Demas! Touchdown, Aggies!
Join us Saturday. The Aggies play the Arkansas Razorbacks at AT&T Stadium. Our coverage begins at 1:30 on your home for Aggies football, the Texas A&M Sports Network.
Listen to Aggie football on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Online at radioaggieland.com or tell your smart speaker to play Zone 1150.
Well, I'm gonna say this: I think they're playing very well. We've had some battles on some teams they've had. There've been some great games up there, all come down the wires. They've all been very tough, in my opinion. I think this game's a rivalry game, and they do a great job of getting up for it, and they play very hard in it. But this team is playing very well. Their team is very talented. Their team is very seasoned. I mean, very seasoned. And their players and their coach very well, and they're playing very well. And I'm going to say, we're definitely going to have our hands full. We're going to have to play a great football game. There's no doubt. They're number 16 for a reason. I think that's what they are, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Jimbo breaking it down, and he made that a point of emphasis a couple different times, the inexperience versus the experience, and Arkansas certainly does bring an experienced team out there. It is TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, and if you're in the market for an engagement ring, wedding band, or stackable anniversary ring, save the date for David Gardner's ring-in season promotion, October 13th through 16th. David Gardner's will have an extended selection of diamonds, engagement rings, wedding bands, and more. Don't miss an opportunity to swing by while they have the largest selection of the year at the best prices. You can link for appointments on davidgardnersjewelers.com. Click the engagement tab and scroll down. We are here in the Rollo Insurance Studio, and I think Jimbo made some comments yesterday. I saw it on social media. I didn't see the Paul Feinbaum show, but I saw some of the notes where he was talking about how a lot of teams today are having to take their lumps because you're playing a lot of freshmen and sophomore, and that the transfer portal has changed, that they may be grown men out there, but their minds have not been through a lot of these battles. And Arkansas defensively does have a lot of guys who have gone through the battles. We use that as a moment of strength or an opportunity of strength for A&M when we talk about the super seniors on the defensive side of the ball. And Arkansas bows that as well.
They do. Let's be honest. A&M's inexperience is at quarterback in the line. They're experienced everywhere else. But to his point, and I don't know the makeup of Arkansas's team yet, but
we'll get there.
But to his point is, and we talked about this some last week with Colorado, you can get better faster now because of the transfer portal. You need a certain position. You feel good about your linebackers, you feel good about but I need a defensive tackle. Well, I can go through the transfer portal and find one. If I don't get him, I go for the next one. A&M did the same thing with offensive tackle.
Right.
So I don't know if that's part of what's worked for Arkansas or not. I do think I remember them having some transfer portal guys, but I can't remember. I'd say this: they have good linebackers. They have a really good safety. There's every reason to come into this game. I think you should be confident, but not cocky. Because better or inferior Arkansas teams than this one has given, like Jimbo was just saying, has given A&M all kinds of problems because it does mean so much to them, and you are going to get their very best shot. So you've got to match it. And I think this year maybe A&M understands that maybe more than they have in the past.
Yeah, hopefully they can run through. And one of the things that Jimbo said yesterday was about a lot of the mistakes, and I believe he was talking more about on the offensive line, were small technique issues that can be corrected. Correct them in a hurry, guys, because SEC play is here. But at least if you are able to, if it's not we know it's not a physical thing with a lot of the guys on the offensive line. I think overall we believe that Bryce Foster is going to be fine. Layden Robinson, if he's healthy, is going to be a beast. I believe the talent of the starting offensive line is there. If you're just fixing a couple of technique issues to open up some holes, it makes me feel a lot better. Let's just see it happen this weekend.
Well, that's what they're saying. It's just been stuff like block placement, your punch placement,
right,
things like that, and so they're just, if you believe Jimbo, which why wouldn't you? The problems aren't that severe, and he says it's usually either a running back not following his blocking, or a tight end not getting his block, or an offensive lineman just not holding on to their block long enough. All the things that last year's offensive line did very well. I still believe that there's more individual talent on this offensive line than last year's. But you had an offensive line that played so well together, and they understood everything you had to do.
Let me just throw this out there again. We've talked about it before, but just for 12 seconds, humor me. Had the NIL deal come out in January, and some of those guys on the offensive line decided to stay for another year because they could have gotten paid and maybe even brought their spotlight up a little bit higher. Green, I'm thinking about in particular here. How nice it would have been to bring some of these younger players along a little bit slower.
Yeah, I think had you had that deal, the one guy that I think might have stayed is Carson Green. Yeah, at right tackle. McCollum had the back issues. And I think he needed to try to see if he could make it in the pros now without risking any more injuries. I don't know that he would if he got through last year fine. And Dan Moore, I think he felt like he was ready.
He is ready. Yeah, he's ready.
So,
but let's just say you kept McCollum and Green, though. If you could have swayed that, I mean, how nice.
And HOFer might have.
Yeah.
HOFer might have. Yeah, I could have seen him saying, yeah, I'll stay around for another year.
Because some of these guys are making some money or have the ability to make some money. And if you are, if you're thinking NIL and you're thinking, I want to keep these older guys out here and take time with these young players. I know these young players, you don't want to take too much time because then they can end up transferring. But just 1 year, just one extra year would have been nice. Like, it wouldn't be a bad deal. Some of these guys now that we expect to go into the draft next year, now with NIL, maybe they decide to stay a bit longer.
Yeah, I think you will see that. I think you'll see more of the guys like Bobby Brown. I think stays another year if he could have, because he's a 4th or 5th round pick. You could probably sell him on the idea that, if you have another good year, you're probably looking at 1st or 2nd round. The money's a lot different. Yeah, but I need money now. My mom
NIL money
has.
then.
Well, here's some NIL money.
So let's do this. We'll continue to chew on this. I also want to get into the topic of the day, neutral site games. But before we do that, we need to talk to Charean Williams. She's going to be joining us here in a moment. Right now, a moment for our friends at the Association of Former Students. I love what they do out there. We're going to have Randy in studio, I believe, on Thursday. Randy Reyes, who's part of their marketing team, heads that up and does a wonderful job out there. For over 140 years, those financial gifts from the Aggie Network have empowered the association to be here, there, and everywhere. That's the beauty of what they do. They really do provide so much for so many different groups that are involved with Aggies out there, with student organizations, the Warrior Scholar Project. You've got ROTC departments, Fish Drill Team, the MSC, Midnight Yell Security, Study Abroad. I'm telling you, they just go above and beyond. That's just a little fraction of what they do, guys. And you know what they're doing with Aggie Park and all the renovations. And you got Ring Day here coming up, which is going to be phenomenal on September 24th. For $100 a year, roughly $9 a month, you're going to get that decal, the plaque, the Texas Aggie magazine. Plus, you're continuing in the oldest, most inspiring tradition of Aggies helping Aggies. To learn more about the impact of the association, get involved or make a gift, visit aggienetwork.com/giving.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. The Theater Company presents the musical comedy The Wedding Singer. Performances run through October 3rd. Purchase tickets online at theatercompany.com. The Buffalo Stampede is back. Runner walk the 13th annual Buffalo Stampede Half Marathon and 5K race on October 16th. Register at brazosvalleymuseum.org. Every Thursday morning from 8 to 10, all veterans and family members of veterans are welcome for coffee and donuts at American Legion Post 159 on Highway 21. Give your girl more opportunities to thrive. Girl Scouts offers kindergarten through 12th grade girls a fun, empowering space where she can safely take on new challenges. Expand her potential at gsctx.org. Your home for football with the Fightin' Texas Aggies, the Bryan Vikings, the Houston Texans, plus Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night NFL from Westwood One is Sports Radio 1150 and 93.7 FM. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Howdy, y'all. This is Cullen Gillespie, former 12th man. I've always tried to help my team on and off the field, and now I'd like to help Texas A&M fans like you cut their electricity bills in half. Yep, in half. It takes less than 5 minutes and you'll save hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars every year. 90% of Texans overpay for electricity, so don't be one of them. Sign up today at energyogre.com and use code GILLY, G-I-L-L-Y, for a free month of service.
Howdy, this is Steve Bledsoe, Fightin' Texas Aggie class of '83, with some exciting news. Veribank is now open with our new full-service location on Highway 6 in College Station. With personal bankers, business bankers, Veribank has everything you need in one convenient location. Come see for yourself where genuine banking is waiting for you, and you can bank on it.
Visit Verabank.com today. That's VERA Bank.com. Verabank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The flagship station for Aggie athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Lance Lester at the Lester Group, Zwerneman Flooring, and The Sleep Station. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
If you missed Louis, you missed.
Literally all of the things you could ever love out of college football, and I have absolutely no clue what's going to happen. It is the embodiment of every single thing that I love about college football, and I cannot wait to watch every single play without any clue as to what's going to happen. Auburn and Penn State, I am locked and loaded, groundwater in hand, pants on the ground.
Listen to Louis from 11 to 2 weekdays on The Zone. Brought to you in part by Rudy's Barbecue.
It is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. If you want to get in on the A&B text line, you can do that, 979-693-1150. But right now, let's go to the BCSI hotline. We are joined by Charean Williams, Pro Football Talk, distinguished alum at A&M 2020. Our good friend knows everything about everything. Good morning to you, Charean.
I don't know about that, but thank you, David, for the intro. I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. So obviously I want to get into some NFL with you, but let's begin with your thoughts on how the A&M game looked against New Mexico. Some people are high, some people are low. Some people, well, most of us think we have not seen the best of A&M yet.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, you know, I was encouraged, I guess is probably the best word. It was a much better performance than they had against Colorado. And I was discouraged, I guess, when I saw Minnesota score against Colorado. But I did think the offense took a step, and Zach Calzada took a step, which was important. I thought that was the most important thing out of that game, was to get him confidence, to figure out how you can win with Zach Calzada as your quarterback. And I think they took some steps into finding that out and figuring that out.
How concerned would you be as a knowledgeable football person and as well as an Aggie, though, about that offensive line performance and running game?
Yeah, agreed. The offensive line's got to be better. It's going to be a long year. I said that exact thing walking out of the stadium. That I told some people, I said, if the offensive line doesn't play any better than what it's played the first 3 games, this team's in trouble. They've got to play better. And I don't know how you do that into the season. I mean, it's very difficult to do, but it could be a long year if they can't figure that out, because they're not able to create any running lanes, and then they're not giving Zach Calzada very much time to stand in the pocket and try to find his receivers. They've got to be better. That's the whole key, I think, to this offense, because they're going to have to be able to run the ball to take some pressure off of him. If they can't run the ball, then all those guys are really peeing off and getting back there and putting pressure on him. So, yeah, to me, the offensive line is the key to this entire season. If they can provide some running lanes and give Zach Calzada some time, I think this could be a really good year. If they don't, it's going to be a really long year, because you're playing a lot better defensive linemen than you played the first 3 weeks when you get to SEC play, which they're now in that.
Charean, in your history covering the NFL, college football, what have teams who have struggled there at the offensive line done to open up players? Is it more of a quick reaction from Zach to get his playmakers the ball just in outside areas? How do you fix something that maybe at this moment won't be fixed without a little bit of repetition and game action?
Yeah, and that's the great thing. It's a great point. Is, you know, I think Jimbo Fisher is a great play caller and has a great feel and a designer of plays, and that's probably it. And hitting some shots down the field like they did. That was really nice to see, the 70-yard play. And if they can have more of that, they do take some pressure off. And if they're able to break some runs, they can take some pressure off. So, yeah, he's going to have to design some things up to try to help that offensive line out, and maybe getting more tight ends in there and helping them out to block. And Isaiah Spiller, as good of a runner as I tell you what, he's a great blocker. And that's not why he's going to be paid in the NFL, but he's really, really good at it. And if that's what it takes, he may have to stay in there and block a few times to help him out, because he is so good at it. So, he's a well-rounded back who can do everything for you. I think that's going to bode well for him in the NFL. I know we want him running for touchdowns and 100-yard games and all that sort of stuff, but there's going to be times, I think, this year he's going to have to stay in and block because he's so good at that job.
Just speculating here, Charean, but could you even see Jimbo Fisher getting a little more creative with that offense, and maybe would it behoove them to maybe put in some, I don't know if you want to call it gadget plays, but do some things that are out of his norm?
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like Jason Garrett hated gadget plays and trick plays. I think there's a purpose and a place for them. I would be curious to know how Jimbo feels about him. Is he like Jason Garrett and very stringent of, I don't call trick plays. That's not what we do. Or, is he more open to them? You had Doug Peterson who called them all the time and was very successful doing it. Sean Payton, very successful doing it. And it does serve a purpose, especially if you have some special talents like they have, some guys who can run and catch and do some special things. So I would be curious where he stands on that. There is a place for it, I think, and I think it can serve you well, especially if you're in a game and you're overwhelmed by a team, say in Alabama. I think it could help you out, provide maybe a spark or two. You're only going to do a handful of those plays, one or two of those plays, but if they produce big plays, produce touchdowns, get you in scoring position, I think they're very valuable.
Charean, I asked Luch yesterday if these next 3 games with Arkansas, Mississippi State, Alabama will define the season. He said actually the next 2 games could define the season with Mississippi State and Arkansas. Yeah. Just talk a little bit to that and how this stretch right here really could be what makes the difference this year.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, if you get off to a bad start, I'm nervous about this game. We've won so many against Arkansas. I'm looking forward to going and seeing it. It's right down the street from my house, and I'm excited to be there, but I'm a little bit nervous at the same time. And I don't know if I've gone into an Arkansas game. Even maybe I have. They take them to overtime so many times. But, you've got to win these 2 games. If you go 0-2, I think you're probably starting to play for 2022 and trying to get some young guys ready. But even if you go 1-1, this is not what anybody expected, including A&M themselves, the players and coaches themselves. They expected a special season. So, yes, I think these next 2 games are very important. I think you've got to go 2-0 in them, and that gets you more experience for your quarterback. It does a lot of things, confidence-wise and everything else, going into the Alabama game, and maybe you give yourself a chance in that game. So, these are huge. I agree that the next 2 are going to tell us a lot about where this team is and what its future for 2021 is.
Yeah, I think in the recent past, you went in against Arkansas and you thought, okay, you're going to win this game if you don't give it away. And then sometimes they almost gave it away. Right. But you knew you were going to win if you didn't give it away because Arkansas was inferior. Now you look at an Arkansas team and you say, well, you think you're still better than them, but the difference, now you're going to have to play well to win the game. So I think that's a big difference. Hey, along those lines, does the Cowboys beat the Eagles? Do they have to play well or do they have to not give it away?
Yeah, I think they have to not give it away in that game. The margin of error in the NFL is very small, Olin, as you know. It's bad. You look at Detroit being up on Green Bay yesterday, Houston winning, handling the Browns, and I think they would have won that game if Tyrod Taylor hadn't gotten hurt in that game. So the margin of error is very small in the NFL, but I think if the Cowboys don't hurt themselves and do what they need to do, I think they'll handle the Eagles fairly easily. I just don't think the Eagles can stay with them. Important game, though, because it's a division game, and they need to win those, and I think they should go 6-0 in the division. If they do that, they're going to win the division, and they should be the favorite in the division after what we've seen. They played pretty darn well against the Chargers. So, I like what they're doing. I like the direction they're moving, but you've got to keep doing it week in and week out. It's an every week proposition. What have you done for me lately? And they were good against the Chargers, so they've got to keep that going.
Charean, let's get into an oldie but a goodie. The top 3 Aggies in the NFL from this past weekend. Where do you want to begin?
I'm going to go number 3 is Ricky Seals-Jones. He made the fantastic catch. I saw it on You Got Moss last night, one of the great catches of the week. One-handed, went up and just made a well covered, just made a great catch for Washington in their Thursday night win. I know it was a while ago, but just a fantastic catch. And he's moved around a little bit, but I think he's better than what people give him credit for now. Tight end, played receiver at A&M, but he stuck around in the NFL for a while. There's a lot of choices this week, but number 2, I'm going to go with Mike Evans. He had the quiet game in week 1 against the Cowboys, and he never complains. And he does what he needs to do, and he's a player every coach wants to have on his team, and he comes out and scores 2 touchdowns in week 2 against Atlanta and just had a fantastic game. And I'm leaving out Ryan Tannehill, but I think you've got to go with his kicker, Randy Bullock now. They both played at A&M at the same time. And another guy that's kind of bounced around, and, as kickers sometimes do, and kicked the game winner. He did miss one earlier, but had a really good day overall kicking the ball. And anytime you can kick a game winner and give your team a win, I think that's pretty special. But Tannehill also had a great day. So maybe it's Bullock / Tannehill, what the Titans did in rebounding after that week 1 loss.
And that Kirk guy up in Arizona, he had a nice day too.
Yeah,
maybe not top 3, but he had a nice day.
He's had 2 back-to-back really good games, and I like what they're doing in Arizona, and like the way Christian Kirk's playing. His week 1 was better in his week 2 game, but they were both pretty good. He's having a really good year so far.
And I will have to, I'm just throwing it out there. Von Miller now has, 3 sacks on the year in 2 games. It's been great to see his return, so happy to see that. Charean, we love it. Thank you so much. We'll catch up with you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Take care. Charean Williams here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. All right, guys, when we do come back, get into that topic that I threw out like an hour ago about neutral site games. I want to hear what OB's got to say about that. We'll get into some of your text messages and your phone calls. But right now, caller number 1, and we're going to give you a free car wash from Aggieland Express Car Wash in South College Station. It's off of William D. Fitch in Greens Prairie. Aggie owned and operated with the friendliest staff and personal touch. They offer a monthly membership. We're going to give the first caller a free car wash right now from Aggieland Express in South College Station. That number is 979-693-1150. I used their vacuum this weekend. It almost sucked up my chair. It was so powerful. So those are the best vacuums in town without a doubt. It is Aggieland Express. For nearly 2 decades, TexAgs has been the #1 Aggie sports group online, and thanks to that passionate community, we've been able to grow it into so much more. TexAgs is now an industry-leading media company that covers Aggie football, basketball, baseball, and recruiting like nobody else. Our staff of over 30 consistently delivers in-depth analysis, X's and O's, award-winning video content, and the most reliable insider information you can find. So if you love the Ags, come check us out. Become a premium subscriber at texags.com/subscribe.
Since 1957, Slovakic Sausage in Snook has been making the best tasting sausage in Texas from the same family recipe. Slovakic is the official sausage of Texas A&M Athletics. Whether it's from the grill to the family gathering or from the pit to the neighborhood party, serve the sausage voted best in the Brazos Valley. Serve Slovakic. Be sure to come in and check out their full-service meat market, relax on the front porch, or grab some fresh kolaches from their bakery on your way out. Slovakic Sausage, Highway 60 in Snook.
Howdy, it's me, the Roofer Girl, Rainy Night, Class of 90. Aggieland Roofing is proud to promote Breast Cancer Awareness Month by donating a portion of every roof sold in the month of October to Pink Alliance, Brazos Valley's very own breast health and support advocate. Join us by supporting our local women and urge every woman to get a mammogram. If your roof needs are large or small, commercial or residential, make the official roofer of Texas A&M your roofer. Thank you for your support. Shop local, shop licensed, and call me, the Roofer Girl, at Aggieland Roofing.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. Opening a My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal record and interactive tools tailored for you. You can see if you are eligible to receive benefits, view spousal benefit estimates, and compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates when you want to start receiving benefits. Already receiving benefits? Use your account to change your address, set up or change direct deposit, get a proof of income letter, and more. In most states, you can also request a replacement Social Security card. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
On Sports Talk, Chip visits with child star Haley Mills about her mentor, Walt Disney.
He had a vision, and he wanted to keep that vision, and he fought for it.
Yes.
And he was a great artist. He was a genius. Let's not beat about the bush. He was a genius.
Sports Talk, striving for genius standards, weekdays from 4 to 6 on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
Here's something I never expected to hear. Olin Buchanan walking into the studio and said, "You're a superhero guy. Who's the worst villain out there?" And I said, the Joker. It is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. You agree, OB? Like, now that I think you love to hate the Joker, and you brought this up for a reason.
Yeah, because we were talking before the show started about Miami and what it would take for Miami to be, a national power again. I think Miami needs to be, whether not that their guys are bad, but they need the reputation of being the super villain.
Right.
They need to be the Joker of college football, the Dr. Doom, and you said, or the Darth Vader. That team or that character that you hate, but you kind of love hating them.
You love to hate them, absolutely.
And I think that's what Miami has lost, and that's why if they replace Diaz, that they should go after Lane Kiffin, because he is the supervillain of college football now.
And as a huge fan of A&M, I want Lane Kiffin away from the SEC West if possible, because I think he's a pretty good offensive coach, right?
Except you got Miami coming up on your schedule for the next 2 years.
You want to say that, speaking of Miami, the SEC just announced tonight on the SEC Network the 2022 SEC football schedule will be released. So there you go.
When is it going to be released?
Tonight.
Oh, tonight.
7 Eastern,
All
SEC
right.
Network.
Hey, Dalton, how are you, buddy? Thanks for
I'm
joining the
doing
show. I know you're busy.
Just letting y'all know y'all want to write today.
Hey,
Olin.
appreciate you. Hey, so OB, I asked this question. We'll go to Tori here in a moment, but I'm going to ask you. Let me give you a couple of my thoughts, right?
Okay.
I'll give you a couple of thoughts. I love and I hate, kind of like bad guys, neutral site games. Here's what I love about it. It opens up a fandom to some kid at home who wouldn't normally get to go to a game. I think that is beautiful. And I'm going to use soccer as an example. We're probably never going to go to Spain to watch Real Madrid play, but they played at NRG Stadium. My kids got to go. It was a great experience. From a family aspect, neutral site games are awesome. From what I think is best for college football, I want them on campus. I think one neutral site game a year is fine. 2, a bit much. It worked out in A&M's favor having the game against Colorado in Denver this year as opposed to, I think, Boulder. I think it could have been a little bit more. If we thought Mile High was crazy, I think it would have been more crazy in Boulder. But I think 1 a year is fine. But I like games on campus because that is college football. It is what the fabric of the sport is made on, the pageantry, all about it. That's how I feel about it in a nutshell.
I think college football is best played on campus. And if you're going to play at a neutral site, I think, number one, it should be a non-conference game. But number two, I think it might ought to be the smaller, lesser opponents. For instance, I don't want to play Houston on UH's campus. I'd rather play that game at Reliant or whatever they call it, NRG now, whatever they call it. I don't want to, if I scheduled a game with SMU, I don't want to play it at that small. It's a nice stadium up at SMU, but try to get that in the Cowboys Stadium. But and especially if it's a conference game, but the larger, the big name opponents, I'd rather see those games on campus.
So maybe out of conference games on the road, if you're taking on a Miami, let's just say, maybe that game, even though you're going to play them the next 2 years, campus. But maybe that's a situation, although Miami doesn't play on campus.
Right.
Yeah, they don't, so that doesn't work out. But you understand my point. Non-conference game, perhaps, early in the season, okay, with neutral site, maybe to start the year.
The only the only conference neutral site game I would sign off on would be if you were playing Vanderbilt in that cracker box they call a stadium, and go ahead and move that over to the Titan Stadium.
But one that doesn't affect us at all, but Texas OU, that's
different,
right?
Yeah, that's a different, because that's a big tradition, just like Jacksonville for Florida and Georgia.
And they thought, well, I don't know if they thought this, but one of the thinkings was that maybe Arkansas A&M would have that feel to it as well, but it doesn't. It doesn't have that feel at all.
It's just not the same. I would rather see that game played on campus.
I agree. Tori, we got time for maybe a text message or two.
Okay, Luke from Dallas saying neutral games are trash. Give me home and away games. We have better home field advantage than pretty much anyone, so it should help us overall to play on campus. Also, I just graduated in May, and now your boy has some money and wants to go see other school stadiums at their campus's culture, and neutral games keep me from doing that.
I like the way he phrased it. Your boy's got some money.
Got some money.
Got some money. OB, thank you very much for the great hour. Appreciate that. All right, when we come back here on TexAgs Radio, presented by Dave Gardner's Jewelers, Jamie McCoy going to join us, talk about A&M and getting Jalen Watermeyer the ball a little bit more often, all that and much, much more. If you want to be part of the show, you can text the A&B text line or call the BCSI Associates hotline, 979-693-1150.
Bryan Broadcasting is your home for high school football. Bryan High, A&M Consolidated, Rudder, and College Station High play on the Bryan Broadcasting family of stations. No matter where you are, hear every play, every game, all season long. Thanks to Amarillo National Bank, Glenn College, BCS Toyota, and Ed Phillips Plumbing. To find out when and where to hear your favorite team, go to brazosfootball.com.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family. Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Bryan Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
Listen to Louis Bellina, Chip Howard, TexAgs Radio, or Paul Feinbaum. Do it on your smart speaker. Just say play Zone 1150 now. This is KCNE College Station Bryan, Aggieland's home for sports.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on the Zone. We are less than 6 weeks away from the November 2nd general election and 2 weeks left to register. Brazos County voters have a chance this morning to check out new voting machines. They've been modified to meet new requirements. You can check out the machines between 9 and 11 at the Brazos County Elections Office in downtown Bryan. The Brazos County Health District's first pandemic report of the week includes a record-setting number of active cases at 1,980. That's an increase of more than 1,800 in the last 3.5 months. There is also one new death. A man in his 60s brings the total number of pandemic deaths to 309. Read more pandemic information at brazoshealth.org. Since March of last year, the College Station City Council has approved a pandemic disaster declaration to remain in the loop for future federal money. Councilwoman Elizabeth Kuhnhall learned the disaster declaration had nothing to do with the governor's order that no longer allows members of city committees to virtually participate in their meetings.
So if people are concerned about that, they should reach out to the governor.
That's a state.
Because we can't do anything to mitigate that, even if we declare this public health emergency.
No, that's right.
Councilman Dennis Maloney said the council has no authority or have the interest in requirements for masks, vaccinations, and occupancy limits. The Sexual Assault Resource Center of the Brazos Valley has seen an increase in the number of clients since they were allowed to meet victims inside hospitals 4 months ago. That comes at a time when more volunteers are needed to be with victims. Executive Director Lindsay LeBlanc says prospective volunteers can sign up for a 2-week training class that starts next month.
We're really looking for community members, so those that live here year-round, that are professionals out in the community that want to give back and advocate for survivors and go out to the hospitals or answer the hotline.
More information is online at sarcbv.org. More news can be found at WTAW.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Shop local, buy local, save big.
It's not every day you can save money. Oh, wait, you can. Hi, Jenny here from Big Deals. When you shop Big Deals, you'll save money every day on dozens of gift certificates from local businesses like these.
Howdy's Pizza, BCS Tire Pros, Cotton and Oak Home and Style, Cilantro Mexican Grill, and more. Visit AggielandBigDeals.com to save big. AggielandBigDeals.com.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Schulte Roofing, Prosperity Bank, Hargrove Insurance, and Rudy's Barbecue. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Texas A&M punter Nick Constantino has been named SEC Punter of the Week after booting the ball 4 times for an average of 45.5 yards against New Mexico. Now, the Aussie has punted the ball 12 times so far this season for an average of just under 48 yards per kick. As long as 65 yards came against the Lobos on Saturday. Aggie soccer is still licking its wounds following a 1-0 loss to 9th-ranked Pepperdine on Sunday. Coach G. Guerreri says the season has been a trial by fire so far for his young squad.
It's quite a difficult spate of games, but it's what we've tried to prepare ourselves to do. And, we've been doing it without, some of our very best players that have been out due to injury. Barb Olivieri has missed the last 6 games. And then we also have it to where Lainey Carroll has missed most of the season, and Anderson Williams just had knee surgery, so she's out for the rest of the season. So there's a lot of young players that are kind of getting bled on the job.
G and the ladies will be back at home this Thursday as they play host to Arkansas. Now, to hear more from Coach, as well as a couple of the players, tune into the Aggie Soccer Hour with Coach G tonight from 6 to 7 on Gospel 97.3 FM. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
You can hear Astros baseball all season and postseason long on Sports Radio 1150 and 93.7 FM, plus Gospel 97.3 FM, thanks to Kelly Burt Dozer. The Astros look to make another World Series run. You can hear the games on The Zone or on Gospel 97.3 FM, thanks to Kelly Burt Dozer. The Houston Astros, the World Series. Listen in, all thanks to Kelly Burt Dozer.
It is TexAgs Radio, presented by David Garner's Jewelers. Hour number 2 here. It'll be a loaded show. Rollo Insurance is the official insurance provider for TexAgs Radio. The difference is real. They're an independent insurance company built around educating you on exactly what you're paying for, doing the shopping for you so that you can accomplish all of your insurance goals. Their headquarters is on Highway 6 right here in College Station. You can call 888-44-ROLLO or go to rolloinsurance.com. All right, let's go to the BCSI hotline. We're joined by former Texas A&M tight end Jamie McCoy on the program. Jamie, good morning to you, my friend.
Good morning. How you doing, David?
I'm doing great, my friend. So let's start off with this. All right, it gets real. Conference play is here, my friend, this weekend. Let's just talk about your excitement level to see an SEC clash.
Man, the season has begun. I'm excited just to, especially after seeing what Arkansas did to Texas. I think that our defense is going to be more formidable than theirs. And I'm excited to see, after seeing Calzada get a game under his belt where he kind of got to, like I said, woosah, be patient, make some throws, see some good stuff happen for him, and do it in front of our crowd. I'm excited to see all phases of the game get out there and execute for the Aggies.
So let's kind of take this season through 3 games. Are you surprised? They're 3-0. They've dominated 2 teams, at least score-wise. One team that had to come from behind and figure it out in the fourth quarter. Are you surprised how, I don't know what the right word is, not pedestrian, but just not dominant A&M has looked so far, even though they're a top 10 team, 3-0, and nobody's scoring on them right now, 7 straight quarters without giving up a score?
Yeah, I can't say that I'm surprised just because the defense is doing exactly everything that we thought they would do and what they should do. But with the offense, especially as your lead play caller, when you got a young guy, whether it was Haynes King or Calzada, neither one of them have the experience where you just go in the huddle and you just know, okay, this guy has seen this look before. He's seen this before, or whatever they throw at us, he's ready for it. So with having two young guys under the helm, I'm not surprised that we're kind of stagnant right now. But I think everything is still ahead of us. I think they could fix some things and kind of move a little smoother. What I am looking forward to seeing is Jimbo. Last year, Jimbo, our defense would hold the whole team steady, and then our offense would go on these 9, 10, 11 play drives, get a lead, and then we just kind of bleed you out. You just we'd hold the ball, you couldn't do anything about it. So I'm excited to see us get back into that phase, and I think it's right around the corner for us.
All right, so you think it's right around the corner. That is the one thing that I think has been concerning for all of us, right, is the fact that you haven't been able to run the ball effectively. Yes, you've got some numbers. You look at Spiller's final numbers, over 100 yards, 2 out of the last 3 games, whatever it was. But they have not been able to run the ball to the way that we've seen, at least last year. So how close is that? I mean, is that just staying with the run and getting Spiller his touches, those volume touches, or is it really the offensive line's got to take another huge step this weekend?
I think it's a little of both. I think you got to trust the run and like you said, give Spiller those touches, especially when the stat is if he has 15 touches or more, we win the game. I'm automatically giving them 5 each quarter if I can. But then again, there's some plays I'll see where an offensive lineman, I know our center and right guard, there were a couple of plays where they kind of got shook off by the Noble kid. I'm hoping that they can just keep on building, keep trusting the linemen. Sometimes it's not going to work out, but you got to keep going back to it so that they can work on it.
In your day, were you guys playing neutral site games like they do now? I don't think were they doing that back then?
Man, I remember my last year. I know for a fact I played Arkansas in Jerry World. I don't know if it was 2 times, but I know for a fact I played them once there. And I think they were doing neutral site stuff.
Do you like them?
I know for a fact I had Arkansas.
Do you like that whole feel? Do you like the whole feel of playing those neutral site games once or a couple times a year? Do you like the kind of different as a player who gets to visit all the stadiums?
Yeah, I don't have any gripe with it. One being, if it's a neutral site game, and all the alumni can attest to this, the Aggies are going to show up. So at the very least, we're going to have either half the stadium Aggies or we're going to pour over and have a little bit more than they do. And then I like them again for the fact of going to a neutral site. In most cases, the team that we're playing, they either got young guys or people who hadn't seen our traditions yet. So I love seeing the look on even incoming freshmen on the A&M team or looking across the sideline and seeing them kind of seeing us sawing varsity's horns off and our fans are all yelling in unison, just seeing the other teams kind of look like, man, why don't our team do that? You know what I mean? So I love seeing it for that aspect.
All right, I'm going to ask you another are you surprised question, but are you surprised at Jalen Watermeyer's presence this year? 4 catches a game. He has not been a focal point. Some of it has been obviously the chemistry with the quarterback, but getting 4 catches a game for a guy that to me is a top-round talent has been surprising, at least the early part of the year.
Yeah. I'm surprised in the fact that we aren't going to him more. Especially those guys over the middle. I know that Calzada's been trying to go to Chase Lane a lot, which you expect with the slot and the nines as well. But we need to get Watermeyer going, especially before we, like you said, ramp up into this district play and have to start seeing these bigger name opponent with better defenses. We got to get him involved, and I love to see Cup step on the field and get involved as well. But I think they keeping him on the ice for Alabama.
So with the problems that we've seen from the offensive line, how important is what the tight ends do? And I'm talking from a blocking perspective moving forward as we are going to try. The Aggies are going to try to establish that running game.
Oh, the tight end can be huge for the offensive line. Not only kind of offsetting the front and making the defense have to adjust to it, whether you do 1 tight end or 2 tight ends, but also in the passing game, you can, if there's a strong defensive end that's kind of wearing you out or giving you problems, you can keep a tight end kind of off the line and leave him in the chip. When I was playing, we put myself in the backfield, a running back would be on the other side, and kind of the same theory. You stay in for a second, chip, and then you kind of be a check down for the quarterback. So I know Jimbo has some stuff up his sleeve that he really ain't used yet, and he's kind of saving it for the bigger name opponents. But I know it's around the corner, and we'll be ready.
All right, so I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to ask you, as a player and what you saw from coaches in your time, is there a little bit of a holding back from a player personality or a player perspective as you haven't started conference play? So, for instance, you got New Mexico. Man, I'm practicing hard, but I'm not practicing like I am for Arkansas and mentally just sharp. Is that actually a thing, or is that just a thing for fans?
I think it's more of a thing for fans because as a player, when you out there, especially when you're stepping on the field, I tell the guys I'm training, I want everybody who's out there is in the Aggie uniform to have the mentality of, I'm trying to beat you on this play, this game, this snap, whatever the case may be. I'm trying to do my job and do it well. Not only that, but you're trying to rack up your stats and get your accolades and whatnot. So I think it's more of a fan thing, but we'll see how we go.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. So how I asked Jimbo yesterday, how can they get the ball to Ainias, to A-Chain in space to let them do what they do best, which is make people miss and look embarrassed fools out there. So how can they do that? His answer is we have to create it, and that might be running up the middle. So just in your experience, how do they create space for their playmakers to do what we know they can do?
You can go 5 wide sets. You can kind of take a script out of Andy Reid's playbook, and I wouldn't mind seeing Ainias coming in motion and kind of doing the catch it and kind of toss it to him. I wouldn't be mad at seeing him get some bubble screens. And off of the screens, you can always do the fake screen and have the guy who is going to block kind of hit it up downfield and, hit the seam. So there's ways to do it. And I know Jimbo can be creative, but at the same time, he likes to take his time and be methodical with it. So it's going to be kind of a pick your poison. Once we start developing the run, which I think we will, and teams have to start loading that box up, I think that's when we start seeing the creativity and more of the deep balls like we saw the Demas and Chapman and guys like that.
Jamie McCoy on the BCSI hotline. Jamie, how nice was it to see some of these younger skill players out there doing some things? We saw Demas with the 2 catches and 100 yards, a 70-yard touchdown. Moose with just an incredible touchdown catch, one-handed. Just how nice was it to see these guys that they're like Bigfoot. We've been talking about them, but we hadn't seen it. Now we get to see it.
It's amazing, especially as a fan, just to know kind of like the situation that we ended up with Haynes King. Your starter goes down. Okay, we got to go to Calzada. What's he going to do? To see those young guys come in and get their reps and still not drop the bar or the level of play, that's huge, knowing that, hey, worst case scenario, if something does happen to one of our primary guys, we got supreme talent just waiting to get in the game and kind of make their name known. So it was great seeing Moose get out there, and I'm hopeful that all the, like I said, with the tight ends and the young backs that get their opportunities, they make the most of it.
And quickly on Moose, it wasn't just the fact that it was a one-handed catch, it's how he made that catch, right, Jamie? Turning your body in a position and being able to scoop it up, like that's in a game, not in a practice, in a game. Thank you for saying it Allen Iverson here.
Yeah, I love seeing that. And more so than that, I love seeing Calzada make the throw and put it in that spot. That gave me, because my main thing with Calzada has been his touch. He has a strong arm, but there's situations where he can take something off of it. And for him to kind of just put it over that DB's head and in the perfect spot, that was great to see.
Yeah, and so you are much more comfortable with the way Zach is playing now, at least getting that game under his belt and just – the way he was commanding the offense. I thought, if I was going to be critical, I thought he held the ball a couple times a little too long. The offensive line didn't do him any favors either. But I loved how sharp he was.
Yes. I was pleasantly surprised, but at the same time, like you say, there's still a couple things he can work on. I don't like when the first or second read isn't there. Instead of moving, I always want my quarterback to be moving forward or finding a way to go get me 3 or 4 yards on a run. But sometimes Zach has a tendency to start running backwards, which all that does is when you throw it, you don't have any momentum on that throw. And then the second thing I kind of nitpick about is just awareness. He might be looking to the left sometimes or looking to the right and not feeling that guy that's barreling in on him. And sometimes he got to throw off 2 or 3 times, but I'm like, dude, one of them Bama linebackers come and they got you lined up like that, you're going to have to get rid of that thing. So I'm hoping he gets his awareness, and that's going to come with time. He's just got to get more play and more hours under him.
All right, what problems do you see that Arkansas presents for A&M on both sides of the ball? What are some areas of concern you see with Arkansas?
For me, it's really not even Arkansas. It's a Little Browse thing. He's the OC there now, and he was over at Ole Miss and obviously Baylor. I know how Art Senior and Little Browse like to attack. They want to hit you vertically down the field and kind of get you in different zones. Maybe one guy's running deep, and then they have somebody sneak in right behind him down that same seam. So I just want our pass coverage to be set. We've done a great job this year, especially through the air. I'm hoping that we can get some defensive pressure on the quarterback, maybe anywhere from 3 to 5 sacks, hopefully. And then let's see if we can get another couple interceptions, some turnovers, whether it's a strip sack or interception, whatever it may be. Even somebody catches the ball and we get a fumble out of it, whether it's a strip just down the field. Hopefully more intensity on the defensive end as far as getting the ball back to the offense and letting us kind of put it in the crock pot and make them boys wait.
Jimmy, I feel like we're waiting for that aha moment for A&M, even though they're undefeated. We're waiting for that. Like, see, this is the team we talked about all offseason. Here they are. Does that happen Saturday against Arkansas?
I think it does. We got a lot ahead of us, and I think this is like I said, a great stepping stone for us, especially having them do what they did to Texas. If we can come out here and do what I think we're capable of, and kind of this game historically has always been a one-score game. Who's got the ball last? I pray it doesn't end up like that, but for whatever reason, it always ends up who's got the ball last. It's typically has tended to be us, but I'm hoping that we can do what we need to do. Like you said, have the aha moment and get out of there with a comfortable 2-3 touchdown lead, and go into the evening.
I'll leave you with this thought, Jamie. To me, it really, I just want to see the running game established. Once I see the running game established, and whatever that means, 20 carries for Spiller, 1450 for Achane, whatever it may be, I will feel so much better about the season, because that's the last part of the puzzle that I'm just waiting to see. And I know it's because of the offensive line, but once I feel like we can run the ball effectively against whoever we want to run the ball against, our defense is so good that I'm not going to have that doubt going into any game any longer.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think it's going to come with time. Each game, I think these guys are going to get a little bit better and a little bit better. The offensive line coach just has to stay harping on them and just really hammer the technique and fundamentals. The stuff that we're missing up on, it's not that they don't want to do it. They just taking the wrong step or letting the guy kind of overpower them. We just got to step up our intensity and trust the run and keep on going to it and not steer away. And hopefully we'll be okay.
Jamie, I appreciate you, my friend. Thanks so much for joining the show.
Oh, yeah, no problem, David. Y'all have a good one.
You too, my friend. Jamie McCoy on the BCSI hotline. I want to remind you guys to text radio to 900 for your chance for the big Friday giveaway, courtesy of our friends at Aggieland Outfitters. And I showed it to you yesterday. This is probably my favorite one that they've had out there. But here it is. The Maroon Cutter and Buck Half Zip top size piece outwear to sport on a cool day here in Aggieland. You can wear it on a warm day, too. You just be sweating a little bit. But look at this bad boy. It is just beautiful. Here's the back of it. Here's the front of it. It is got that great material, that dry tech material. So obviously, if you do get a little warm, it does allow a little bit of that moisture wicking, breathable, maximum comfort out there. It's the best materials. That's what they do at Aggieland Outfitters. I actually had a lunch with Fadi out there, and he was kind of explaining how they select the product that they sell. Top of the line, everything, guys. Impressive 50-plus UPV. It's got that white beveled A&M on the left side. Just a beautiful. It is the Texas A&M Buck and Traverse Stripe half zip valued at $129.99. You can check that out at Aggieland Outfitters.
Wolf Cleaning Services of Aggieland reminds all listeners that last year over 50% of our children were bullied or teased. This daily ritual leaves them in despair, feeling like there's no way out. Be someone that a child can go to for help, and let's stop the intimidation now. This message is from Priscilla and the crew at Wolf Cleaning Services of Aggieland, equipped to handle all your home and office cleaning needs. They don't cut corners, they clean them. Call 979-618-1019. Wolf Cleaning Services of Aggieland, wishing our kids a happy and healthy school year.
For nearly 2 decades, TexAgs has been the #1 Aggie sports group online, and thanks to that passionate community, we've been able to grow it into so much more. TexAgs is now an industry-leading media company that covers Aggie football, basketball, baseball, and recruiting like nobody else. Our staff of over 30 consistently delivers in-depth analysis, X's and O's, award-winning video content, and the most reliable insider information you can find. So if you love the Ags, come check us out. Become a premium subscriber at texags.com/subscribe.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
It's not every day you can save money. Oh, wait, you can. Hi, Jenny here from Big Deals. When you shop Big Deals, you'll save money every day on dozens of gift certificates from local businesses like these.
C&J Barbecue, Aggieland Express Car Wash, Mineral Body Works, awards, and more, and more. Visit AggielandBigDeals.com to save big. AggielandBigDeals.com.
You can hear the Paul Feinbaum Show weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone. Presented by Polaris Fun Center. Paul Feinbaum is SEC Country, and Aggieland is SEC Country too. Join Paul weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone. Polaris Fun Center, where you can get a $500 rebate on any 450 or 570 Model A TV, or $2,000 cash back on a Polaris XP1000. Polaris Fun Center, where they sell and service fun, not tractors. The voice of the SEC, and you can hear Paul Feinbaum weekdays from 2 to 4 on the Zone.
This is ESPN Radio.
Coach Nick Saban joining us.
I love coaching. I like teaching. I like being around the players.
Brian Day, head coach at Ohio State.
We're very young, freshman quarterback.
Jalen Hurts, Philadelphia Eagles quarterback. Is it Boomer Sooner or is it Roll Tide?
I tell them Roll Sooner. That's what I tell them.
Derek Brooks, Pro Football Hall of Famer. If they win the second Super Bowl, our defense or this defense?
Joe Namath is with me.
Man, Greeny, I got goosebumps listening to you.
All-Pro tight end for the Niners, George Kittle.
Why'd you have to stiff arm Tracy Walker III like that, man?
I got to get my yak, man.
Football Hall of Famer, he is the Ronnie Lott.
The most amazing guys in God.
Touchdown.
As Brian Edwards just scores a touchdown for the Raiders to end it from the former Raider. You got the live reaction right here.
ESPN Radio, weeknights and weekends on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
Well, you can, but you got to create space. You say that. I mean, you can, because if you line them out in space, and they can go cover them in space. You got to create space. I mean, space is an easy thing to say, but it's a hard thing to create because I mean that's what you're trying to do. So we're going to have to create it. We're going to have to be, creative, or we're going to have to be physical. You have to do it with physicality. You're going to do it with creativity. You're going to have to do it also their ability to make people miss. I mean, there's a lot of ways, but the guys you get, Spiller, a Chain, and all those guys in space, and usually good things happen. But that's going to be the key.
Designing it to get it done. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. That was Jimbo Fisher yesterday. I asked him about getting those guys the ball in space. I believe it was one of the first plays against New Mexico where they found a way to get A-Chain the ball on the side, and they just creating the opportunity for him to make people miss. As he said, easier said than done. It's hard to do, right? But what can they do? Is it about Calzada being able to do a two-step drop, quickly releasing the ball and letting his guys make plays? Is it about the offensive line? It's all the things, right? It is everything. But you have to find ways to open them up, because right now, if you're basing it on what we've seen through 3 games, the ability to run between the tackles hasn't really been there. The offensive line hasn't gotten the push that we expected to see at this point. I think that's going to get better, and I think this weekend is going to look way better than it looked against New Mexico. Not that New Mexico had this huge front or anything, but I think if Layden Robinson's back out there and everybody goes to their natural position, now it'll be a 3rd game that group plays together. I think that'll be huge. I do. I really think that will be huge. And, yeah, we're talking about finding ways to get the ball to A-Chain and Ananias, right? But there's other guys, too. Like, how do you get the ball to Demas more? Like, the ability to blow the top off, going deep. Those are all huge in the development of what this Aggie offense is trying to do. And I brought it up with Jamie McCoy. I'm still waiting for that aha moment, because even though A&M's 3-0, there hasn't been, there's been a play or two I'm like, there we go. But it hasn't been sustained, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the sustainability of this offense. I've seen it from the defense. I've seen the defense kind of bend a little bit in Colorado, bend a little bit against Kent State, and then just dominate, right? So I want to see them against higher competition, but I don't have questions. I do have questions on how you establish the run with Anias, with A-Chain, and the rest of the guys that may see action. And I think it's going to happen. I'm just waiting for when. And again, we're over here, I don't know if complaining is the right word, but pointing out a couple of areas of concern that, Jimbo has even brought up that we need to get fixed. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can. 979-693-1150 is the BCSI hotline. You can also text us on the A&B text line, 979-693-1150. But you have to create. You have to soften them up. How do you do that? Well, OB said it yesterday. Their manhood is going to be challenged this week. You guys have got to do this in that kind of voice, right? You've got to go in there and dominate the man in front of you. And there's no doubt that this line can do it. Will they do it? I got to see it done. I got to see it done early. And I agree. There was a guy on I can't remember who said it, somebody on the YouTube stream, which, by the way, will come to a close here momentarily, talked about Calzada having success early on. And he does need to have success early on. And that, if they're going to load the box and force Zach to throw, if he can get those in those tight windows and allow his playmakers to make some plays on a two-step drop, firing it out there, if he's able to do that, and then they have to respect his ability to make decisions and not lock in on one receiver, and really, what Jenna Wademeyer did last year against Arkansas is what I need and expect to see this year. Arkansas has no chance against him. They just don't. I know Catalan's good, but he ain't bringing Jalen down. Soften him up with JW constantly and open it up so when you're up 10-zip, 14-0, 24-10, whatever it may be, just put that game on ice, run and D. But you have to effectively run between the tackles. And it may come down to the quick decisions that the quarterback makes early on how Arkansas is going to come. I remember before the quarterback change, before Haynes got hurt and Zach had to come in, we had Connor O'Gara on the show, and he thought that this game was a trap game for A&M because of Barry Odom's defense. A lot of people were upset. This game was going to be tough no matter who is at quarterback, if it's Zach or if it's Haynes. And they're going to muddy the waters. They're going to make it very difficult, which is why I need to see the other areas. That's why I need to see the offensive line really play their best game of the year. I am worried about the next 3-game stretch. I'm worried about every SEC game. I'm just a worrier when it comes to teams that I care about. But that is so important into establishing the tempo of the game. Because Arkansas has narrowed the talent gap, and they're playing for a coach. They're playing lights out for a coach. But you still have more talent. You still have more history. You still are the better football team. Regardless of the questions, I still think A&M is a better team than Arkansas. Yes, I want to see more from Zach Calzada. Yes, I want to see more from the offensive line. Yes, I want to see the team run the ball more. Yes. Yes, I want to make sure that the defense locks in on KJ Jefferson, doesn't allow him to run freely. He's going to have some plays. That's what he does. All right? I want to see him throw in tight windows. These are all things that I want to see. But I still think at the end of the day, you're a better team. And a better team against, I think, a really good team. But you're still the better team on a neutral site field, which should be popping with A&M fans, should mean an A&M victory. That's how Vegas has it. I think we have a lot of hesitation just because you've won 9 in a row and Arkansas is playing very well. Well, then now they're going to have to play against SEC great. The Orange Bowl champs, a team that's won 11 in a row, a team that defensively has not given up a score in 7 quarters, a team that has given up only 17 points this year. That's the difference. And I believe that, one thing that I have seen from an Elko defense this year is they'll take out something that you do well. We expected Kent State to be able to throw the ball. They didn't throw the ball against A&M. Colorado was able to run effectively with the quarterback in the first half. They weren't able to do it in the second half. New Mexico really didn't do anything. So I do believe that Elko will be able to change what Arkansas does well. We just have to maximize on what we do well. And we will. And it's as real as it comes right now, guys. It is as real as it comes right now. Right now, I want to talk about Chance McClain and Heritage Films. If you've been listening to this ad for the last 6 weeks, thinking to yourself, yeah, I need to do it. I need to do it. Do it now, man. You don't want to miss out. You don't want to miss out on good story time, right? I love my father so much. He is just, I love my mother. So, I mean, we are a very blessed family. And their stories are stories that need to be told. They need to be captured because, you know, we try to get my dad to write it down and have a tape recorder and say his thoughts. And that's all great, right? But it's a lot of work and it takes time. How about you let somebody else do the work first class? And it is something that when you watch it, you're like, am I watching a Hollywood production? Like, legit, did Steven Spielberg come down for this? No, that's Chance McClain. Really? Yeah. Who's the other guy who does the Titanic movie? Whatever his name is. James Cameron, I think. Yeah. Chance is as good or better. All right. I'm going to go with better because I like him and I know him. All right. And he's listening. So Chance is better than James Cameron. And that's what he's going to do for your documentaries, guys. It is Heritage Films, yourheritagefilm.com. Get that story on tape. Watch it with your family. Preserve those stories because once people are gone, man, it's just then becomes a game of telephone and that story gets lost out there. Check out yourheritagefilm.com, 713-893-8341, yourheritagefilm.com, 713-893-8341.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. The Theater Company presents the musical comedy The Wedding Singer. Performances run through October 3rd. Purchase tickets online at theatercompany.com. The Buffalo Stampede is back. Run or walk the 13th annual Buffalo Stampede Half Marathon and 5K race on October 16th. Register at brazosvalleymuseum.org. Every Thursday morning from 8 to 10, all veterans and family members of veterans are welcome for coffee and donuts at American Legion Post 159 on Highway 21. Give your girl more opportunities to thrive. Girl Scouts offers kindergarten through 12th grade girls a fun, empowering space where she can safely take on new challenges. Expand her potential at gsctx.org. Your home for football with the Fightin' Texas Aggies, the Bryan Vikings, the Houston Texans, plus Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night NFL from Westwood One is Sports Radio 1150 and 93.7 FM. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
When seconds matter in the game, every single decision made can mean a big win or a frustrating loss. When it comes to buying your next home and selling your existing home in the current market, every decision can mean serious money. Aggie fans, it's Dave South, and as you know, I've studied the best players and the best teams to represent our A&M family. One thing I've learned over the years, the best coaches have the respect of their team and the 12th man, you, the fans. In Bryan College Station, no realtor has more 5-star reviews on Google than Lance Lester and his team at the Lester Group. Why is that? Simple. No one offers more options that benefit you. If you want to buy your next home before you sell your current home, Lance can help you do that. If you want to know the date and price that you can count on your home selling for, Lance can guarantee it in writing. When the game is on the line, you want a leader with a proven track record calling the shots. Get your home sold faster and for the most money. Work with my friend Lance Lester and the Lester Group. Go to thelestergroup.com. That's thelestergroup.com and experience lightning in a bottle selling your home.
All right, guys, it is time for Arkansas. If you missed TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, you missed this.
Taking care of the ball and forcing KJ Jefferson into throwing into tight windows, because that's something I don't think that he can do quite yet. They had some coverage breakdowns for Arkansas this week that allowed them to have some big time plays. And guess what? If KJ Jefferson goes out there and throws 35-yard spirals and all of a sudden they're just better, then they're just better that day.
It's TexAgs Radio, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. on The Zone.